Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss the ongoing efforts being made by the Government of India to give push to Make in India in defense sector. A major push is being given by the government to Make in India program in the defense sector. The idea is to give a boost to indigenous manufacturing of defense systems for use by the armed forces in this direction. The government has cleared proposals for procurement of defense equipment worth rupees 28,000 crore from domestic manufacturers. How significant is this move? We will analyze this in the agenda today with two experts in the field. We have with us Dr. Ravi Gupta, former Director Public Interface in the DRDO and retired Group Captain M.J. Augustine Vinod. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this small report.
The Defence Acquisition Council or DSC, headed by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh yesterday, cleared 7 proposals for procurement of equipment worth rupees 28,000 crore from domestic manufacturers. The decision, which is part of the government's effort to give a boost to the Make in India program, is the first since the new defence acquisition procedure was unveiled with effect from October 1. 2 of the 7 proposals are aimed at boosting surveillance capabilities of the armed forces, while one is for 6 new indigenously built eyes in the sky platforms for the Air Force. The other is related to shipborne unmanned aerial systems for the Navy. The DSC also gave its go-ahead to the Navy to procure 38 BrahMos missile and 5 more next-generation offshore patrol vehicles. It also cleared modular bridges for the Army. The Airborne Early Warning and Control or AEW&C, also called the Eyes in the Sky, will boost Air Force surveillance capabilities, especially on the borders with Pakistan and China. The previous such platform, Netra, which was developed by DRDO, was used by the Air Force during the February 2019 airstrike in Balakot in Pakistan and to track any incoming Pakistani fighter jets. Under the new project to build the 6 new AEW&C platforms, DRDO will use planes from Air India to mount active electronically scanned array radar system that can give 360-degree surveillance capabilities. The project is estimated to cost over rupees 10,000 crore. The other important surveillance project that got DSC approval was for unmanned aerial vehicles for the Navy that can operate from the deck of ships. China and Pakistan are already using such platforms. While Pakistan has Boeing Scan Eagle, China is using Austria-made S-100. The government had earlier changed the defense acquisition procedure and scrapped the offset policy under which a foreign supplier had to earmark 30% of the cost of a military equipment for transfer of technology and domestic manufacturing. It is now to be seen how much result the new move yield. Bureau report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Mr. Gupta and Group Captain Augustine Vinod. Welcome to the program, sirs. So I'll begin by asking Mr. Ravi Gupta about the new decision for procurement from the domestic manufacturers that the government has taken yesterday worth 28,000 crore. How do you see that decision?
It's a welcome step, and for a long time the need of these items was being felt. What has happened yesterday is acceptance of necessity. Now let us hope the MOD or the bureaucrats, whatever you may call them, allow the process to be speeded up. Because from acceptance of necessity to actual placement of orders, God knows how many months and years they will take. Tejas is classic example. MBT Arjun, ATAGS, ATAX, our own indigenous guns. Any other country, whatever is the level or status of our indigenous guns, it is ATAGS. By now the orders would have flown in thousands and thousands, because that is the requirement in our country. What is happening? The companies, the private sector industry, which invested heavily into it, they are still waiting for orders. Tejas past more than about 1.5 decades, we have placed orders only for 40 aircraft, just 40. 40 एयरक्राफ्ट तक ऑर्डर प्लेस किया गया है आज तक, एंड 83 और का ऑर्डर मिलेगा. मैं ये बात पिछले 1 दशक से सुनता आ रहा हूँ. अभी तक वो आप दिसंबर की बात कर रहे हैं, दिसंबर भी निकल चुका ऑलमोस्ट, 15 दिन बचे हैं मुश्किल से. लेट अस सी कब जाके ये 83 एयरक्राफ्ट का ऑर्डर आएगा. सर, द इंडस्ट्री कैन नॉट फंक्शन इन दिस मैनर. वी हैव टू पुट द ब्यूरोक्रेसी असाइड. चलता है नहीं चलेगा. ऑर्डर से मतलब है ऑर्डर आने चाहिए. लेकिन हाँ, कल जो हुआ है, जो 28,000 करोड़ का एक एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ नेसेसिटी आया है, अपने आप में एक बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि इसमें इंडिजिनस जो सोर्सेज हैं उनका शेयर 27,000 करोड़ का होगा. 27,000 करोड़ ऑल्सो इज ए फेयरली बिग अमाउंट.
Right.
So let us hope for the better.
So, Group Captain Vinod, you heard Mr. Gupta. He is apprehensive about whether this will translate into action. What do you say?
Ajay ji, good evening and thank you. It is always a pleasure to be with Mr. Gupta, to be on the panel because he shoots straight.
Yeah, he is candid.
ये पिछले जन्म में फौजी और एक आर्मी मैन रहे होंगे, वो भी एक इन्फेंट्री के. But by now you are viewers and you realize that I am a realist. I feel this 28,000.
I think Mr. Gupta is also a realist. He says there are procedures which don't allow decisions to be translated into action. I think he is also a realist. Now you can continue.
Yes, Ajay ji. In a way, see, इतिहास बताता है कि आपकी फ्यूचर क्या होने वाला है. ये इस बात से मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ. आपका पिछला ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड बताता है कि आप आगे क्या करने वाले हैं. इस बात से भी मैं सहमत हूँ. बट मेरे अंदर का जो ऑप्टिमिज्म है ना, वो अभी जगा हुआ है.
Good.
Why I will tell you? Because in this, the most important thing that they have signed is indigenous AWACS, AEWNC. This indigenous AEWNC, we have been pushing for it for past 1 decade. Avro ke upar we made one AEWNC which crashed and the entire program came to a standstill.
Right.
After that, we went for a primitive IL-76 platform. Yes, it is serving us well, but IL-76 is a platform that probably requires a little bit of a boost, I would say. But this indigenous platform on which these AEWNC is going to be built is going to be a big boost. This offshore vessel, इसके भी जो बातें थी, वो भी बहुत सालों से चल रही हैं अजय जी. तो ये 2 AON, I am not so particular about this modular bridge का जो AON है, because that has been just a tick in the box for the army, मुझे लग रहा है. लेकिन ये 2 ऑफशोर पेट्रोल वेसल का AON साइन होती है. एंड लेट मी टेल यू समथिंग अमंग्स द 3 सर्विसेज, नेवी is most first of the block. You will see this offshore special vehicle का जो AON साइन हुआ है, within no time the work will start, because I also want to point out to our viewers and to you as well, AON की एक जिंदगी लाइफ होती है, बहुत बड़ी लाइफ नहीं होती है AON की. AON साइन करने से आपको RFI निकालने के समय है वो बहुत कम होता है. 6 महीने से 1 साल, डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट टाइप ऑफ व्हेन यू साइंड इट. ये समय बदलता रहता है. DRDPP में अलग अलग है. अभी का मेरे ख्याल से 1 साल.
When that time gets over, the AON will expire, isn't it?
It will expire, sir. आप 2008
So that is why Mr. Gupta was saying, he was talking about past experience. So many decisions have expired.
28,000 करोड़ का साइन कर लीजिए, 28,000 अरब का साइन कर लीजिए. These are all numbers, Ajay ji.
Right.
But that is the past record. But I am hopeful because of these 2 major projects, of which both these services are known to take off the block very fast. Both these services have their paperwork already ready. Out of which one service का paperwork मुझे 100% पता है ready है, वो है Indian Air Force. साइन हो गया, आप देखते जाइए कितनी तेजी से ये आगे बढ़ते हैं.
So, okay,
So
Mr.
these two, I feel, is the project to go forward. Yes, it may not be 2,800 crores, but something better than the previous past track record.
So, Mr. Gupta,
That is what I am talking about, realism.
Mr. Gupta, you heard group captain and he is so positive. Then, are you still apprehensive?
First of all, last few sentences I could not hear. There was some problem in the audio, but nevertheless, I can see with his face that he is very optimistic. And
he is optimistic. He said that these two will be, off the block very soon, Air Force and Navy.
I'm also very optimistic. See, I'm a person who never loses hope. After all, 3 or 4 decades ago, when we were working on systems, and everybody said, you will not be able to do it, you will not succeed. We said, no, we will succeed, and we have shown that we can succeed. So I'm hopeful, present government, under Mr. Modi, I think it is far, far better, and it is doing a great job in terms of pushing the indigenous things. But nevertheless, I must again and again emphasize that the last 50 years, whatever I have been observing and whatever I have written a long book on DRDO's history, once you read that book, you will realize how the indigenous, the Atmanirbharta, the self-reliance was systematically organized. So, the things have not changed altogether. I am also only saying that yes, wait and watch. What has happened is a good step. I welcome it. And I think that the democratic part has to be eliminated. We have all the, IVOD program, I emphasize this point. We are in a country where we have each and every ingredient for success. There is no need to import anything. We can make everything ourselves. Technology, we have made first ATM way back in 1960. Our missile program has been a fantastic success. We have been supporting, DRDO on its part, supported the private industries even when, since 2000, independence to 2001, the government of India has almost completely banned the private sector industry for making complete systems. For components, it was allowed. So whatever was allowed in the rules, DRDO joined hands with the industries. If you talk of 70s and 80s, we did not have a single industry in the country which could even make something with a make-to specification or make-to-print even. You give them the complete drawing, manufacturing drawings, but they can't make it. So DRDO hand-holding them. Today, the same industries, they are able to manufacture built to requirement basis. Services give the requirement and they make their own specifications, get them approved, and they are able to make it. It's a big, big jump.
Okay.
Today, the ecosystem is far, far better.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure if the bureaucratic part is removed, we can do fantastic job. We can become the #1 exporter of arms rather than being a big importer.
So, Group Captain, you heard Mr. Gupta. He says we had the capability, we don't need to import anything. But then still we depended on imports, and we also had something called offset clause. For years it was there, but finally it proved that it was not resulting in anything positive for the country, and now we have removed it. What do you say on that?
Sir, 2-3 things I want to clarify.
Yeah, please.
First and foremost, ये जो 28,000 करोड़ है ना, इसमें एक और टैग लाइन जुड़ा हुआ है जो आपने जिक्र किया है इसके बारे में. You know what is that tagline which will make this 2,800 crore a success?
Yeah.
Take a guess.
Please say that.
Atmanirbhar.
Yeah, Atmanirbhar. Yeah.
This Atmanirbhar Bharat tagline इसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ है.
Group Captain, I'll say it is now a new coinage of the word. Earlier it was Make in India. Now that has been given a new term called Atmanirbhar. Only the name has changed.
We have been talking of self-reliance for a long time.
Yes.
What is the same thing?
So only the name has changed, nothing else. So please go on.
Correct.
Yeah.
The name is this government is not going to give opportunity to opposition when 2024 is not very, far away. As it is, we saw what is happening in farmers' bill.
No, I'm not talking about we are not talking about politics. We are talking about defense.
No, I'm not talking about politics either. I'm saying the bureaucracy will be pushed by the polity of this country to make this a success. Probably we will come back to this program, Ajayji, and this could end up being an historic program where we talked about it and we said it will be a success. And I know for a fact this will be a success because Navy and Air Force.
We also hope that it becomes a success. We also want it to be a success.
Nahi, I know it will be a success because ये दोनों का paperwork down to the T, down to the nuts and bolts तैयार है. They were waiting for this AON to happen.
But Group Captain,
you
also know,
and will move very fast.
Mr. Ravi Gupta also knows that there is something called bureaucracy, and he has worked with them, and you also have worked with them. So
I don't want to, it is very easy to do bureaucracy bashing. Let me tell you, I am not fielding for them for once. We have also been suffered under the hands of Pontius Pilate. But I'll tell you, if there was no bureaucracy, what happens? If we will want the moon, we will probably go for the moon. Bureaucracy is doing what? It is doing some kind of check and balance, especially MOD finance. MOD finance को पता है भाई कि हमारे जेब में 18 नहीं है और तुमको चाहिए ₹1 का माल. कैसे आ सकता है? या अगले साल हो सकता है 18 और आ जाए ₹1 का माल इस साल नहीं आप अगले साल ले लो. तो it is easy to do bureaucracy bashing. I am not saying they don't deserve to be. For once, neither am I fielding for them. I am seeing some kind of a check and balance has to be there. In our country, it is bureaucracy.
So
in some other country, it could be something else.
So do you want to say that armed forces are asking for more than what they can chew?
I wouldn't say that. Armed forces does not know कि जेब में कितना पैसा है. Armed forces will want the best. But number 2 best जो है ना, number 2 or number 3 in line is what we could afford.
Right.
And that would also fit the bill as far as threat perception is concerned.
So
आज ही मैं 1 घंटे पहले किसी छात्रों से बात कर रहा था.
Yeah.
See, everything flows down, Ajay ji, from threat perception.
Right.
And it is not just one solution that you can use to address that threat perception.
I'm coming.
You can address the threat perception through multiple solutions.
I'm coming to threat perception.
You should go for a solution. Which is cost effective.
I'm coming to threat perception, but I want a reaction from Mr. Gupta about the finance part.
See, when the country got independence, right from that point onwards, the finance side has been telling that, we are a poor country. We cannot afford big kind of machines and investment into R&D. 10 long years, there was hardly any addition to our defense armed forces capabilities. And then there came 1962. My simple question is, one simple question. We can remain half stomach, but do we want to again become slaves? Can we neglect our security? 1962, some things saved us. Otherwise, there was nothing to stop. What saved was the pure valor. One man fighting 10, 20 people and then laying down his life. Nowhere you can find parallel in the history of the world. And that's how the country was saved. Did anybody question what happened for 14 years, 15 years? Why no addition to the armed forces capabilities? No. People are still saying, Nehru ji ko koi unke against koi bolne ko tyaar nahi hai. The entire blame was put on Mr. Menon. And he had been minister for only few. Anyway, that is a different ball altogether. Point is, finance, yes. Checks and balances are required. I am not saying that bureaucracy is not required. It is very much required. Every component of government has its own importance. But problem, हमारे देश में हो क्या रहा है कि हर चीज में ब्यूरोक्रेसी हावी है. आप एजुकेशन में जाइए, ब्यूरोक्रेसी हावी है. वाई एजुकेशन का जो डिपार्टमेंट का डायरेक्टर है, सेक्रेटरी है, वाई ब्यूरोक्रेट इज देयर? He doesn't know what is education. Similarly, defense. Similarly, there are every profession where the professional decisions are required, leave it to professionals. And for the country's sake, whatever is required has to be provided. Nation first.
So, So, Mr. Gupta, if I wanted to ask this to Group Captain, first I will ask you then. So, as you talked about 62, so we earlier talked about threat perception. So, is it that the government is now expediting these processes of acquisition because Chinese are on our borders? There is an active threat. Mr. Gupta.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I thought, okay. No, 1962 was happening. Today again, Chinese are on heads. That's why I'm saying that finance has to play its own role. It can guide us where to put the money, but ultimate decision has to be with the professionals. The army is saying that they required, okay, you have a committee and try to find the best solution. Technologists are there, scientists are there, bureaucrats also have to be there, but together the final decision, and there has to be a time limit. That's why in the new procurement policy 2020, that's why I have all the praise for the new government. So many reforms have been weaved in. Fast-track procurement has been introduced so that the security doesn't suffer when I am sure under the leadership of present government, the 62 cannot be repeated. It is no question now. Today we are far, far stronger in terms of our armed forces, in terms of our capabilities in terms of weapons, nuclear or conventional, including biological and chemical warfare. We have defeated coronavirus. I strongly believe this coronavirus is a kind of a bioterror. We have been able to counter it. Today our country has the lowest death rate in the world. So every kind of threat we are fully capable. We have technologies, any kind of tech, and our scientists are capable of generating whatever technology is required. Now I would also like to mention one more thing. Yeah. Morning I was hearing to a discussion on another channel. Now somebody pointed out that in terms of what preparation should be done. He gave the examples of several contemporary wars like the swarms, the drone swarms and all that we should also be doing like that. I would again say no. See, whatever contemporary weapon systems are floating around, they were conceived, as we said, about a decade ago. Now, again, if you try to copy the same thing in terms of, I'm talking as a scientist or technologist.
Right.
By the time you are able to develop them in your country, they will be obsolete.
Right.
So, technologists, scientists, and the armed forces, they have to sit together and think of future systems. What are the 2030? What kind of war scenario will be emerging? What technologies do we need for 2025, 2030, 2040? That's how, then only we can become contemporary.
Right. So, Group Captain, so we had to think about future, and I will again ask you the same question, that are we expediting these processes, acquisition and preparedness, because Chinese are posing a real threat?
Okay. From the northern side, Ajay ji, we have discussed in your channel.
Yeah.
From the northern side, right till Kibutu. Okay, that is the entire Galwan to the north of Bhutan to Tawang, right till Kibutu. That is your Wolong axis. China suffers a lot in terms of terrain, and we can have a separate program on this. I can explain it to you how he, even if he wants to, can. He will come from somewhere else, and that that has been my prediction. I hope it does not come true.
What is that?
Now coming to what Mr. Gupta said.
What is the prediction?
He will come from Myanmar, sir. 8 to 9 airfields are there. He will overfly Myanmar and he will hit you from the south. He cannot hit you from the north. गलवान के एरिया में होतान है. होतान के बाद में 1500 किलोमीटर दूर आपके पास काशी काशगर. He cannot come from there. The terrain is completely barren. He cannot come from there. North of Assam, he's got only 3 airfields. He cannot come from there. There are only 6 valleys. He cannot come from there. Anyway, be that as it may. But coming to what Mr. Gupta said, if there was 62, there was also 71 example. We did very well there. It is a dichotomy.
No, but
when we say
62, 71 cannot be compared because adversaries were different in terms of power.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
In 62, what happened? The biggest mistake was that air power was not used.
What not used, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
If air power was used, it was a different ball game altogether, sir.
Right.
So take that big if into the equation and now war game it to see what would have been now. But my point is not that. Let's talk about Defense Acquisition Council's 2,800 crore AON signature.
20,000.
With the rider of Atmanirbhar Bharat on top of it. Your question was, is it because China is building up its capabilities? The answer to that is yes and no. Yes, because of the urgency. No, because these plans were, Ajay ji, believe you me, I was in uniform at that. These plans were already in the pipeline. It should have been signed last year for want of some high priority projects. It was posted to move to this year. Now coming to a third point, which a little bit of the disagreement with Mr. Gupta is a technology jump. You know, the way we adopt technology. Gone are those days when a decade ago and it takes a decade for you to get it online. આજકાલ with IoTs coming in and with manufacturing testing processes becoming faster, becoming more controlled, and we have more data, the adoption of technologies from drawing board to battlefield is a couple of years, I would say. Let me give you an example. Conida Varsha Kukrethi's company called Automicro US last year demonstrated in Pokhran the swarm of 13 drones with AI ML technology thrown in. Which a lot of people are not aware. There are such companies working on such projects because industry has been allowed to work with on such
I agree there.
And that will come to the battlefield next year.
Mr. Gupta was also saying we have the capabilities, but only is to utilize those capabilities. So
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, we are running out of time.
I totally agree with him. And with that, I have a lot of hope in Modi's government.
So we are running out of Good Captain, we are running out of time. I want to ask you one. One last question.
Sir, go ahead, please.
When we talk about that, which we should have done it earlier, and about your hope. See, 2 years back, we had set a target of $2 billion of exports in defense sector, and which was to be achieved in 2 years. That is 2020. What has happened?
One word answer you want?
Yes.
Bureaucracy.
So you are again saying what Mr. Gupta is saying. You are agreeing with Mr. Gupta. So we have reached the same place.
No, but see, the problem is for things to change. किसी भी लोहे को bend करने के लिए उसको गरम करके समय देना. I think this government is doing that. So, if you remember last program,
so that is why I said we hope that this government.
Gupta ji said that in spite of this bureaucracy, I will prove, I will work. So this government is determined to work.
Yeah.
I know they will still prevail.
So that is what we all hope. Mr. Gupta, you want to say something at the end before I close?
Oh no, I just wanted to say first of all, I agree with Agustin to a great extent. There is no disagreement because he has said the same thing in a different manner. Technology part, yes, I'm still saying yes, we can do it very fast. It's shoulder-fired anti-tank guided missile. We have developed in no time. Hardly 2-3 years we have developed it. But from the development, from the requirement, conceptualization, development to manufacturing to induction, there is one element called bureaucracy. So I am again saying.
So again we are reached the same place.
Things will move.
So we are reached the same thing. So bureaucracy. But thank you both of you. Our time is up. Thank you both of you for participating in this debate.
Thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.